Liberals are hiding the state of Canada's finances from Canadians. The so-called brilliant banker who said his strength was planning isn't planning on actually producing a budget for Canadians. Meanwhile, 1 million Ontarians used a food bank last year, a terrible new record, and unemployment in the GTA has now surged to almost 9%. Guess what? No budget. How bad are the state of Canada's finances that the so-called brilliant planner isn't planning to produce a budget for Canadians?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Labour.
Mr. Speaker, we increased CCB, we delivered $10 a day daycare, we put in place a national school food program, federal minimum wage was increased, dental care, pharmacare. All of these programs have reduced child poverty by 38% since 2015, seniors poverty down by 30% since 2015. All these things the Conservatives have voted against.
The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
We voted against all the policies that led to 1 million Ontarians using a food bank. They should all be ashamed of themselves that that's their performance. Meanwhile, TD Bank has now said up to 100,000 Canadians will lose their job this year. And guess what? They refuse to produce a budget. 20% bankruptcies in Canada have surged 20%. Guess what? They're not going to produce a budget. I ask again, what is so terrible about the state of Canada's finances that the so-called brilliant planner is refusing to produce a budget for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Labour.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to talk about this list again because I think it's so important. We increased the CCB, delivered $10 daycare, put in place a national school food program, federal minimum wage has been increased, dental care, pharmacare. All these programs have reduced poverty in all age groups. These are the things that Conservatives voted against.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Centre.
Well, that's a record stuck on skip, Mr. Speaker. But Canadians are now facing the consequences of this Liberal government's economic drift. Oxford Economics says that Canada is heading into a recession with 200,000 more job losses and unemployment reaching 7.7% this year. Full-time workers are turning to food banks in record numbers, and mortgage defaults are rising. Meanwhile, the Liberal government wants to spend a record $500 billion with no plan. Will the Prime Minister show some accountability to the Canadians who are going to be losing their jobs and do his job and table a budget?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, a tax cut for 22 million Canadians is exactly the kind of relief that Canadians are looking for, on top of all the programs and supports for Canadians, whether they have children, whether they're seniors in low income. We expect then, with all of this concern, that we'll see support from the Conservative Party and things like our One Canadian Economy Bill, Mr. Speaker, which is going to even further enhance opportunities for Canadians to have well-paying jobs all across the country.
The Honourable Member for Richmond, Athabasca. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I would like to remind the Prime Minister that he leads a minority government and that the majority of elected members of the House of Commons voted in favour of tabling a budget this spring. This morning, I was present for the Conservative motion, but there's been no response. I'll try my luck here. Two simple yes or no questions. 1. Does the Prime Minister respect this institution that is the House of Commons? And 2, will he respect the will of the majority of elected members and table the budget? The Honourable Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, 2 answers. Yes, we do respect the House of Commons, and yes, there will be a budget tabled in the fall of 2025, Mr. Speaker. And yes, Mr. Speaker, we're working for Canadians. I know that we have new colleagues in the House, including him, but no doubt he's heard the great news for people in his riding that there will be a 22 million Canadian tax cut. And I'm sure that he'll call people in his riding so that they can all celebrate a great moment for Canadian taxpayers. The Honourable Member for Richmond, Athabasca. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleague for his answer, but the answer was wrong. He said there'd be a budget in the fall, but we want it in the springtime. A recession is looming with a possible loss of 100,000 jobs, according to TD Bank. Already, full-time workers are using food banks in record numbers. We are seeing an increase in missed mortgage payments. and a housing crisis that is developing throughout the country. Mr. Speaker, Canadians are worried, and with good reason. We need a budget this spring. When will we get a budget? The Honourable Minister for Government Transformation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's true that Canadians need support, and support that the federal government is doing. But the Conservatives voted every time against Quebec and Canadian families through the childcare benefit, through the dental care system that allowed people to save an average of $900. Thousands of people in his riding were helped. Millions were saved through dental care and childcare and affordable housing. There's a number of programs, and they should finally start voting with us to help Canadians.